If you told 8-year-old me sitting in front of a boxy tube TV that we'd finally get a live-action Masters of the Universe movie that actually rules, I probably would have choked on my sugary cereal. But here we are in 2026, and Amazon MGM Studios actually pulled it off. Seriously, after decades of development hell, director Travis Knight finally gave us a He-Man movie that doesn't just embrace the neon-soaked, sword and sci-fi weirdness of Eternia. It actually has a massive, surprising beating heart at the center of it. But man, that ending? It leaves us with so many massive questions. What's the deal with that broken sword? Who was that hidden character in the mid-credits scene? And how does a movie based on a 1980s toy line manage to sneak in a profound message about toxic masculinity? Grab your power swords, because today we are breaking down the ending of Masters of the Universe, what it means for the future of Eternia, and all those juicy post-credits secrets you might have missed while staring at Nicholas Galitzine's insane biceps. Let's dive in!
My fist like that, I'm done!
Yes.
That is the crescendo!
How we got to Castle Grayskull. Okay, before we unravel that wild final battle, let's do a quick refresher on how our boy Adam ended up in this mess in the first place. So, Skeletor, played by a terrifyingly awesome Jared Leto, completely invades Eternia. To save the realm, the sorceress, played by Morena Baccarin, sends a young Prince Adam to the safest, most boring place she can think of, Earth. But here's the twist. Adam wasn't the biggest, toughest kid on the block. He was actually the weakest among his classmates. And to make matters worse, once he gets to Earth, he loses the freaking sword of power. Cut to years later, Adam is a fully grown adult living a totally normal, incredibly unmagical life. And what is his day job? Human resources. I am not making this up. The savior of the universe was literally handling corporate disputes and benefits enrollment. But then, his childhood bestie Tila, played by Camila Mendez, tracks him down, hands him the sword, and drags him right back to Eternia. Now, there's already a rebel force fighting Skeletor, led by Man-at-Arms, the legendary Idris Elba, and a super cool version of Roboto voiced by Kristen Wiig. But when Adam shows up, he doesn't exactly fit the rugged warrior vibe. He's not a fighter. He prefers using his words. I mean, the guy spent years in HR, but the magic doesn't care about his resume. When he holds up the blade and shouts those iconic words, "By the power of Grayskull," he transforms into He-Man. Huge muscles, unstoppable strength, the whole 9 yards. But physical strength can only get you so far, right? Skeletor captures Adam's parents and lays down a brutal ultimatum. Turn yourself in, or they die. The rebels launch a desperate rescue mission at Snake Mountain, but tragedy strikes. Adam's father, King Randor, is killed in the chaos. In his final, heartbreaking moments, Adam apologizes to his dad for not being strong enough to save him, but Randor leaves him with a beautiful piece of advice. You never had to be the strongest. Of course, Skeletor doesn't care about father-son bonding. He throws Adam into a dungeon, steals the Sword of Power, and marches off to Castle Grayskull to claim ultimate dominion over the universe.
Does it feel good?
The final battle, breaking the sword. This brings us right to the climax of the film, and man, it delivers. Adam is locked in a cage with his mom, Queen Marlena, and his old pet, Cringer. Now, remember, he doesn't have his He-Man powers right now. He's just regular old human Adam. But this is where his real strength shows up. Instead of flexing muscles he doesn't have, he uses his words. He inspires the other prisoners, giving this incredible speech that rallies everyone to rise up and break out. Outside, a massive war breaks out. We get this awesome, cathartic moment where Man-at-Arms faces off against Trapjaw. If you remember earlier in the movie, Trapjaw had absolutely humiliated Man-at-Arms years ago, sending him into a dark spiral of self-doubt and alcoholism. But here, Man-at-Arms gets his honor back, completely wrecking Trapjaw in a beautifully choreographed brawl. Meanwhile, Adam, Cringer, and Teela race inside Castle Grayskull to stop Skeletor. And here's the first big twist. Skeletor tries to use the Sword of Power, and absolutely nothing happens. It straight up doesn't work for him. Adam, being the peace-loving guy he is, tries to talk reason into Skeletor. He genuinely tries to de-escalate the situation. But let's be real. Skeletor is a classic, zero-nuance 80s cartoon villain at heart. He doesn't want to talk about his feelings. He just wants to smash things. A brutal fight breaks out, and during the struggle, snap. The Sword of Power completely breaks. This is the ultimate low point. Skeletor gets the upper hand and uses his dark magic to invade Adam's mind, literally taunting him with his worst insecurities. We see flashes of Adam's memories, feeling inadequate at the gym, feeling small at his old office job. Skeletor is basically telling him, without that sword, you are nothing. And honestly, Adam believes him for a second. He gets a vision of the sorceress and cries out that it's over, that he can't access the power of Grayskull because the physical sword is destroyed. But then, she drops the biggest truth bomb of the whole movie. Boom. Talk about a classic, beautiful storytelling trope done right. The sword was just a conduit. The real magic, the true power of Grayskull, was inside Adam's spirit the entire time. Armed with that realization, Adam snaps back to reality. He summons the energy from within, and right before our eyes, he transforms into He-Man without a functional weapon. The sheer force of his transformation actually fuses the broken pieces of the Sword of Power back together in a massive burst of blinding light. Now that Adam is fully powered up, Skeletor suddenly decides he wants to talk. Typical bully behavior, right? But He-Man is officially out of human resources mode. He delivers an absolute beatdown, completely destroying Skeletor until the only thing left of the Dark Lord is a hollow, lifeless skull on the floor. The movie wraps up a few months later. The people of Eternia are happily rebuilding their beautiful world, and Adam officially embraces his role, not just as a prince, but as the true protector of the realm, He-Man.
Trust me.
I know how to use it.
What the ending actually means. So why does this ending work so well? If we look back at the original 1980s He-Man cartoon, let's be totally honest with ourselves. It was an entertaining, awesome show, but it was fundamentally designed to sell plastic action figures to kids. The plots were simple, and the moral lessons at the end were usually pretty basic. But this 2026 version, it actually has something really profound to say about masculinity and what it truly means to be strong. The movie takes a giant swing at toxic masculinity and completely deconstructs it. Think about how Adam is treated throughout his life. As a kid, he's mocked for being weak. On Earth, he works in HR, a career that some small-minded people might not view as traditionally macho. When he returns to Eternia, the battle-hardened rebels look at him like he's a joke. They can't comprehend how this gentle, soft-spoken guy is supposed to be their savior. But the movie proves that physical dominance isn't the end-all be-all. Adam's greatest victory isn't when he's punching things. It's when he uses his empathy and intelligence to unite people. He gives Skeletor a genuine chance to surrender because he values life over violence. Yes, he still turns into a massive, muscular demigod at the end and kicks butt. Because hey, it's an action movie. But the point is that He-Man represents a positive version of strength. He is a protector who uses force only as a last resort, prioritizing reason and communication first. And we see this parallel perfectly with Man-at-Arms too. He thought his entire worth as a human being was tied to his ability to win fights. When he lost to Trapjaw, his ego shattered, and he fell into alcoholism. But over the course of the film, he learns that his true value lies in being a supportive, loving father to Teela. It's such a refreshing take for a massive summer blockbuster.
I shall kill you one by one.
Those wild post-credit scenes explained. All right, let's talk about the extra goodies hidden in the credits, because Travis Knight absolutely loaded this movie with sequel bait. First up, right as the credits start rolling, we get a quick appearance from none other than Orko. For the hardcore fans who were wondering where our favorite floating, clumsy magician was during the main movie, well, He was apparently sitting out the dangerous stuff. He pops up here to give a hilariously dramatic recap of He-Man's victory. It's a great little nod to the comedic relief of the original series, and it definitely hints that he'll have a much bigger, more magical role to play in a potential sequel. But the real mind-blower happens during the mid-credits scene. We see Queen Marlena talking to Adam, and she drops a massive family secret. Adam has a sister who went missing a long time ago, and then the camera pans, and we get a breathtaking, silhouetted glimpse of She-Ra! They don't show her face, which means the studio is likely keeping their casting options open, but this is huge. For those who don't know the deep lore, She-Ra is the alter ego of Princess Adora, Adam's long-lost twin sister. Fun fact, director Travis Knight actually revealed in an interview with SFX magazine that there were original plans to include She-Ra in the old 1987 live-action movie, but they ended up cutting her to save her for a sequel that never happened. History almost repeated itself, but thank goodness we at least got this incredible teaser. If Masters of the Universe 2 gets the green light, Princess Adora is going to be central to the story. Finally, at the very end of the credits, the camera takes us back down to the cold stone floor of Castle Grayskull. Skeletor's skull is still lying there, completely abandoned. But then, a pair of boots walks into the frame. It's Evelyn, played perfectly by Alison Brie. She scoops up the skull, and right before the screen cuts to black, we hear Jared Leto's iconic, chilling Skeletor laugh echoing through the halls. He's not dead, folks. You can't keep a good bonehead down. What's next for Masters of the Universe 2? So where do we go from here? If a sequel happens, the creative team has an absolute goldmine of storytelling options. By introducing She-Ra's disappearance, the door is wide open for Hordak to enter the live-action universe. In the classic lore, Hordak is the brutal leader of the evil horde who literally kidnapped baby Adora and brainwashed her into serving him on the planet Etheria. A sequel could completely transform into a dimension-hopping, sci-fi epic where He-Man has to travel to another world to save his sister. Plus, exploring Skeletor's backstory could get incredibly juicy. In some versions of the comic books and shows, Skeletor was actually a student of Hordak, and he's actually King Randor's long-lost brother. Can you imagine a massive Darth Vader-style twist where Skeletor looks at He-Man and says, "Adam, I am your uncle?" That would be absolutely wild. Director Travis Knight has already mentioned in roundtable discussions that he wants a sequel to focus heavily on how Adam adjusts to being He-Man full-time, and how his relationship with Teela evolves. There was some amazing romantic chemistry between them in this movie, so seeing them navigate that while dealing with a potential sibling rivalry with She-Ra would be incredible. Now, the elephant in the room is the box office. The movie has a massive $170 million budget and is tracking for a modest opening weekend, so it's really going to depend on great word of mouth and fans showing up to support it. Personally, I think this movie has the charm and the heart to become a massive cult favorite, and I desperately need to see this franchise expand.
Well said, Lord Skeletor. Poetry.
Had taken the ways.
Our nerdy thoughts. But hey, what did you think? Did you love the new, self-aware take on Eternia? Or were you missing the campiness of the 1987 version? Who do you think should be cast as live-action She-Ra in the sequel? Drop your thoughts and your wildest theories in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, do me a huge favor and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more movie deep dives. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, by the power of Grayskull, you have the power! See you next time.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.